Let's talk a bit more about your father there.
My father was remarkable. I've got a lot of his letters. I've got all the letters that he ever wrote me. And someday I'll work on those because as advice to a kid, I mean, he had no faith in the profession that I chose. I think he wanted me to be a surgeon, and I studied chemistry and physics. Physics, I was so dumb, took me 3 years to pass the exam to get into college. And chemistry left me sort of blank.
I want to talk about your student days in a minute, but first I want to raise a point which you just might not want to talk about at all, in which case we just pass over it. But it sounds to me like, your childhood sounds like paradise. Mm-hmm. Did your brother's tragic death put an end to your childhood as far as you were concerned?
No. My father and mother never mentioned that. And I think whatever happened, whether it was an accident, which my father felt very definitely that it was, for very secure reasons. Dad, being a Southerner, played a lot of athletics against Northerners teams in college. And the Northerners were all, for the black man. So the black man had a great sense of humor down there. And the black man learned to hang himself so that he could hold the rope with his neck and not let the noose really slide. He could be swung up in the air and not have it affect him at all. And Dad felt that Tom, waked up early. We were visiting in New York, and there were rafters, and he tried it.
The trick being sort of
to hang yourself.
To pretend to hang yourself.
Yes,
right?
to pretend to hang yourself. Now, the boy was a brilliant student, a brilliant musician. He was a prefect, everything was perfect. But who knows? None of us know each other, do we? Not too well. I mean, even not too well. We just can't get through to each other totally, I don't think. And so there's always the possibility that it was for misery's sake. But my mother and father, from the time it happened, and I called them and they came and all the unfortunate arrangements were made, it was never mentioned. Mother never went to the cemetery, never. We had a professor read the few words, but they never, mother, and it's usually the woman whom this destroys. And for these two people who'd brought us up with a great deal of freedom, it must have been a terrible, terrible blow, a terrible blow. But they certainly didn't show it to us. And life went on, and laughter went on.
But what about you inside? Because you actually...
Who knows?
You actually just...
Who knows? Who knows?
Do you think it might have been the start? In many ways, your career there's been lots of triumphs over adverse circumstances. Is that when that started? Is that when did you decide to overcome that shock?
No, not consciously. I mean, I don't think... No, how do you know about yourself? I mean, obviously, I loved my older brother. And obviously, it was a shock, and it made me feel that maybe people didn't understand what he was really like. And then I began to tutor instead of going to school.
What did your father want you to be? What do you think you were studying for?
Well, I was first studying to be a doctor. And then I would have liked to have been a surgeon. And I realized that the ladies in those days, even now, would have a tough time being a surgeon. And also, I just wasn't bright enough, I don't think. And I drifted into acting. I loved sort of giving little plays with a little theater that I had to my younger brothers and sisters. And I did those plays. But I can't remember. I really don't know why. I think I drifted into it.
But you drifted into the one profession that your father couldn't really approve of because it involved drawing attention to yourself, isn't it?
I don't think he objected to that. I think he just thought that if you go into the theater for a woman, it was a profession for her that would last about 5 years. Mine's lasted 52 so far, so I'm okay. Daddy was wrong.
What did you have to offer as an actress when you were starting off?
Well, what have I got to offer as an actress now? You
Well,
tell me. I think it's a sort of idiot's
We've got
profession.
the evidence now for what you've got
Yes,
to offer as
but
an
that
actress, but
you
then
haven't.
there wasn't any evidence, was there?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows why people look at someone? I think it's a question of charisma. I've seen kids that I thought, oh, look at him, look at her. Do you know? I don't know what it is that is the quality that makes one into a freak that is fascinating.
But if you didn't think much of your own looks, what was your faith in yourself based on?
I have no idea myself. I didn't have anything else. What was I going to do? This was mine.
What was your voice like before it was trained?
According to me or according to Tallulah Bankhead?
Okay,
Tallulah Bankhead said she thought it sounded like a lot of nickels dropping into a slot. But when she'd heard it long enough, everyone else's voice put her to sleep. So I was not aware that it was particularly loud. But I like to be heard. I'm sympathetic with the deaf. I mean, they can understand me and they can hear me.
Were you a easygoing, humble, compliant young thing? You weren't, were you?
No. I don't think I was humble, and I never was easygoing. I was supercharged. I have a lot of energy.
But why weren't you? I mean, you had a reputation for asserting yourself and telling people their business when you didn't know.
No, that's not true. I was sweet.
Yeah?
They say things, and I have a poor memory, so I'm not sure whether they're right or wrong. But I felt sweet.
You got fired
And I
occasionally.
felt often.
You got fired often.
But that was because I think I wasn't very good, or I was too tall, or they thought I was too fast, or they just didn't like me.
Thought you were too fast. In what sense? In the sense
Well,
you talked
I
quickly?
talk fast, and I talk loud, but I had wonderful thoughts going on inside my head.
How did you react to being fired? Did you blame them or blame
Didn't
yourself?
like it.
You think
No,
they,
I think I blamed them. I think I was right,
you think
too.
they were schmucks?
Well, I thought they wanted something typical. And I was fired out of a thing called Death Takes a Holiday, a very good part, in which I was playing with James Dale, who was a bloody good actor, and Philip Merivale. And I was fired. They came in just before the performance and said, Mr. Schubert is giving you the privileges of retiring from the cast. And I said, look, I'm not taking that privilege and get out. You fire me if you want to. Just blow, because I've got to give a performance. So out I went after a week. And my father came down during that week to see what he thought. And he said, this was a story of a beautiful young girl who ran away with death, who was Philip Merivale. So Dad looked at it and he said, well, he said, you were playing an idiot and a neurotic, and I think you were very good.